Thanks for joining us today. It's 2 o'clock and you're right where you need to be, here with GunStuff Live from Cincinnati, Ohio. Today's show is I Dream of Genie, the gas block genie, that is. Tell your friends and let's get started. Welcome back to GunStuff, and we're glad that you're joining us here again today. I have my erstwhile host here, Scott Kiefner. Scott, thanks for being on our show again.
Thanks for having me again.
And what have you been up to this week?
Working.
Working?
Been working a lot, but got to go shoot a match Wednesday night, so had a lot of fun doing that. So.
And then you and Chris have been just tearing it up out at the range. You've got so many things that we've shot.
We are trying to get as many videos out there as we can on all the different weapons that we have here. So we're just trying to get as much content out there as we can.
Now, does that have anything to do with the weather? I know you guys don't want to get rained on, and Cincinnati's known for its rain, right?
Yeah, we've had a dry spell here for a little while, so we're doing pretty good on having the dry time to do it, and it won't be long. It's going to fall weather's going to kick in, and it's going to be kind of nasty out there. So.
Well, yeah. That's for sure. But it wasn't nasty this week for Chris, who was out in Las Vegas. And he had a great 2 or 3 days just shooting the heck out of all kinds of guns. And you're going to see that video coming up fairly soon, probably just in the next week here. So I'd like to thank our sponsor for today. That's Faxon. Faxon Firearms, as you know, has been sponsoring us for this season, and we're grateful to have them part of the GunStuff community. Now, if you've been getting our emails, which you should, you'll have a link right to Scott's excellently done overview of the Hellfire and the Patriot weapons. And yes. They are excellent. Faxon knows what they're doing. And so check that out. Now, if you haven't subscribed, be sure to subscribe. Now, we want to tell you a little bit about our social media giveaway. If you want to participate in today's show, you are, well, there's a payback for you. I'm not saying that you're getting paid, but there is some payback. All you need to do is tell people about the show. Share it on your media, make a couple of comments, your name goes into a hopper, and you can win, and you will be winning stuff today. In fact, I'm going to tell you who won last week. Last week's winner, Maxine Simon, Penelope Norton, and Michelle Hopkins. It was a ladies' week. We thought we'd do something for them.
Yep.
So we appreciate you gals. Now, we've sent you all emails and messages. Send us your address. We won't stalk you. We're just going to send you our GunStuff gear. Yeah. And today's GunStuff giveaway is also sponsored by I Dream of Genie. As we were talking, it's actually the gas block genie. And we're going to be giving those away right here on the show. Scott, tell us a little bit about the function of this while I mess around here with my computer and see if I can get them on our Skype session.
So we're going to get a chance to hear about this gas block genie here in just a little bit. But for those of us that have built ARs or had to service ARs, this is a great piece of gear, and it's one of those things that when you need it and you have something like this, it is an amazing tool and helps you in so many ways. When you don't have one, you're totally guessing. So we can't wait to hear about it. So.
Well, I think if I haven't screwed it up here, I think we might have it working. Ben and Susan Gray, are you with us?
We sure are. How are you?
Chris.
Okay, well, glad to have you on our show today. We're really excited to have you here with us. So the gas block genie. Now, is that named after Susan? Are you the genie?
I'm the genie. I make a lot of magical things happen here, including us being on TV with you today.
Well, we're glad to have you. Now, the gas block, Ben, you're the exactly the inventor behind this. Tell us a little bit about what the gas block genie is.
Well, basically, Chris, the gas block genie is a device that allows you to perfectly center your gas block porthole over your barrel's porthole. As we all know, an AR-15, the way that it operates, and the only way that it operates, is by the hot gas is expelled by the cartridge, sending the projectile down the barrel, and that hot gas comes up through the gas block, back through the gas tube, and that's what makes the bolt reciprocate so that you, in fact, have a semi-automatic rifle. Without that being perfectly aligned, you have no bolt reciprocation and therefore no semi-automatic rifle. You pull the trigger once, it might fire, and then that's it, you're done. With a perfectly aligned gas block, though, you've got your full availability of all 30 rounds in your magazine, one after another, every pull of the trigger.
Now, folks that have purchased an AR off the shelf, already made, do they need the gas block, Genie?
Well, they might. Chris, if they take it apart to clean it, or if they take it apart for any reason, maybe to add a forearm or foreguard system, perhaps they may have purchased an A2 style AR-15, which would be the original Eugene Stoner design that has the plastic foreguard and the big A2 sight that you see on the front. A lot of people like to go to a free floating barrel, which is a much more accurate way to fire the AR platform, or any other rifle platform for that matter. Changing from an A2 platform to a full floating setup, you would have to change the gas block out, and for that reason it would be a good idea to have it. The idea behind it, though, Chris, is for the home builder, the do-it-yourself AR builder. That's really what it's geared towards.
So if you're building it yourself, now there are a lot of folks that do that. Scott, now you're kind of familiar with that, right?
Yes, we've actually had we've had groups. We shoot on the weekends. We have lots of friends. We go out to the range, and they've actually had AR build parties, not necessarily a party, but you have a group, and we'll work on the lower one weekend and go over all the different parts, and everyone pretty much picks their parts, order them, and then you build it. But something like this, just like he's saying, this is something that can be used even in servicing, because there may be a time it's still a possibility that your gas tube can rupture, get a blockage or anything like that, and you may have to remove the gas block to do that. So.
Yeah, absolutely. We've actually sold the gas block Genie to police department armorers, to armorers that work at specific gun dealers. These are all people that are trying to get an edge on what they're doing professionally, and really it saves time. So everybody knows time is money. So in a situation like that, it's definitely helpful for them.
Now the alignment, those hot gases, they've got to go up into the tube and then back. And that's what powers that BCG group to do its work, right?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Chris. If you have a misaligned gas block, your AR-15 platform rifle is not going to fire properly. It's going to fire one time and it's going to stop. Those hot gases, the original Stoner design of an AR-15, those gases are what actually make that AR-15 reciprocate back and forth and give you that semi-automatic capability.
Now, how wide, in fact, I'm looking at the gas block Genie here. It doesn't look to me like that slit is very wide at all. You don't have a lot to be off. If you set it up yourself without a gas block Genie, you're going to be in trouble, right?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. It's actually, you mentioned that slit being narrow. It's about as wide as the gas port on the barrel itself. So if you miss just by a degree or two, you might get a little bit of the hot gases running up. You might get 50%. That's not going to be enough to make that bolt carrier group reciprocate. You have to have that full 100% or darn close to it to make the bolt reciprocate. And that's what the gas block Genie does, is give you that 100% perfect alignment of the gas block on the barrel itself.
Well, let me ask you, would you even know if it was misaligned?
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty difficult to know until you take it to the range.
Once you start shooting, if it's not firing right, you probably have a problem.
Yeah, it's a one and done kind of a proposition, Chris. The whole idea behind it is, again, that Stoner design. Those gases are required to make that bolt carrier reciprocate back and forth, and to strip that next round, to eject the round that just went out of the rifle, and to strip the next round into the chamber and make it go back into battery. And if that's not working all as a perfect concert together, you're going to run into all sorts of problems. You basically got a one-shot rifle.
I've run into a lot of guns over the past, and just servicing all these weapons and stuff like that, and doing what bit of gunsmithing and stuff that I've done in the past. I've probably come across 20 over the last 15, 20 years where the gas, like you said, if that gas block is off by a degree, it can even be a half a degree sometimes, and depending on the system as to how much it's going to delay the bolt carrier group. But I've had to personally take 20 gas blocks off due to the fact that they've moved or shifted. The only ones that really, when it comes to ARs, the only ones that are really going to not shift on you are going to be your A2s because they're pinned. Those pins pretty much make those solid in there, but every single one that has any type of bolt-on gas block is susceptible to that screw coming loose, and so anybody that has a bolt-on gas block may need one of these in the future. So,
sometime, the more rounds you put through it. Now we're zooming in on this, Ben. You guys can't see it there, but we're zooming in real tight. You got some great packaging in here, and it isn't a very large product. It doesn't need to be because it's a small thing that you're doing. But if it's very important. It sounds like to me.
Yeah, the whole idea behind it, Chris, is for you to. I had 3 criteria when I came up with the idea of the Gas Block Genie. The first was that it be inexpensive. It needed to compete with a few of the products that were on the market. The second criteria for me was to be that it works, period. The idea itself needs to be something that works every time for you. You got to take your time and make your measurements properly, but it works. And then the third criteria was that it has to be reusable. For a product to be used over and over so that, dad and son can build an AR-15 on a Saturday afternoon and go shoot it together on a Sunday, they might actually like doing that together and keep the relationship going and do it for years to come. That's the whole idea behind it. But those criteria really for me were really the 3 most important parts of designing the Gas Block Genie, along with my business partner.
Now, your business partner, Susan, here. Now, are you the genius behind the pricing on this? Because, the pricing is extremely reasonable.
Pretty much. It was actually we have another partner that's not here with us today, but Loring, and so they actually came up with some pricing. And I do a lot of market work and market research and advertising, and I'm like, you guys, the sweet spot on this would be $14.99. We can get it in every door, and that's what we need to aim for. So we actually started out a little higher. And I had to beat these 2 up. I got the price down to what I thought was going to work, and it has. We've been selling the heck out of this. And for any woman that's out there, please, if your husband is a new AR, buy him one, because this is what started us. Our marriage was like, he'd build one, he'd go to shoot it, and within 10 minutes he'd come back after spending $15 to get into the range, to find out after 1 shot didn't work. And when he came back in 15 minutes all crabby, I'm like, oh no, here we go again. So trust me, I was backing him 1,000% when he came up with this idea.
Well, one thing I was thinking about, for $14.99, that's a very reasonable price. But what about the shipping? You got to add that on there, and then, of course, that's going to run it up too, right?
Correct.
Free shipping
for
all the
guys,
time.
Yeah.
Free shipping all
free
the time.
shipping.
Any of our retail customers get free shipping.
I was leading you on there. I was trying to hand you a softball there. Free shipping, it's a great deal. So for $15 or less than $15, you've got this. You can keep your AR tuned up whenever you need it. And you can buy ahead of time, and you're not even spending on freight.
No.
I spend all my day working on freight with GunStuff. It's a big deal around here, trying to figure something out.
Well, and it's one of those things too. With one of these, there's the AR platform is such a versatile platform, and there's a lot of room for different tolerances and things. But there's only a few things in those guns that have to be right on, and your gas block is one of them. It's one of those things in the system that if it's off, your gun's not going to run, and you're going to have cycling issues. You're going to have problems at the range. If you're shooting competition, you're going to get a hiccup in there somewhere. And you got a lot of room with buffers and springs and stuff like that. There's a lot of things you can tinker with and play around with, but gas block's not one of them.
And our viewers, our subscribers, nearly 1 million of you out there strong, and we appreciate your support of GunStuff. You're getting emails just this very week, starting today, on the Gas Block Genie. But that's not your only product. We do have just a little bit of time, just one more segment here. Let's talk a little bit just about this roll pin wizard, and we will have you guys up again in the future. But tell us about this roll pin wizard so we know what that's all about.
Yeah, the roll pin wizard is our newest release. It actually just came out within the last couple of weeks. Basically, it's 2 tools in one. The first tool, and the most proud that I am of it, is it's a completely proprietary tool, and it allows you to drive the bolt catch, we'll refer to as the bolt release roll pin, into place. And if anybody's ever built their own lower receiver, they know exactly what I'm talking about. You could use 3 hands when you're doing it, holding the bolt catch, which is actually an assembly. It's a spring and a plunger and the bolt catch itself into place, and it wants to pop out on you, and the spring wants to go flying. That's one hand. The other hand actually is operating the pin punch, and then you've got a third hand. Hopefully you were born that way with a third hand that's trying to hit the hammer on the end of the punch and not miss and mar your lower receiver or worse. The roll pin wizard actually takes all that into consideration, and it's like having a third hand for you, and it holds the roll pin engaged into the roll pin itself. It holds the punch into the roll pin, and actually you could sit there and hold it without driving it in, and it'll stay right in place for you. When you're ready to punch that roll pin punch in, just a couple of light taps and you're finished. The second part of the tool is it's a pivot pin detent and spring takedown tool. Now those exist on the market. It's nothing special, nothing new there, but I thought we would incorporate it into this product so that you get two tools in one, and thusly making it an even better value than it is.
So before we finish, when we're talking about the AR-15, now that's a very popular weapon in the United States, and it's basically because of its modularity. Wouldn't you agree? It's not really that it's meant to shoot people up at kindergartens and so forth. It's mainly meant for its modularity.
Yeah, you know, Chris, I hate it when I hear assault weapon, because that's not what the AR-15 is. That's not what it was built to be. The AR-15, yes, is modular. It is also probably, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, it's probably the best home defense weapon you can have short of a shotgun. You know, 300 Blackout is one of the calibers that's available in AR-15 platform, and you never have to worry about over-penetration in your walls in your home when you're shooting something like that. And even 5.56, they make it out to be this horribly powerful and very strong round. It's not even in most states legal to hunt with an AR-15 for deer, because that projectile is so small it's not considered a humane kill with a 2.23 or a 5.56 round. That's really such a misnomer that the mainstream media has put on us, and it's a shame, but it is what it is. It's the what we live in, the days that we live in.
Well, Ben, Susan, I want to thank you for being on our show today, and we're going to cut away to a couple of words for our sponsors as we continue. So thank you so much. We're going to have you back on the show again, and thanks to Block Genie.
Guys, thank you, Chris, for your
Thank
time.
you so much.
Both of you, have a great day, and thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Well, Scott, that's you know, it sounds something very, very useful. And
Yeah, but I'd say between these two tools here, they are attacking some of the hardest parts of an AR build. So you're going after the roll pin, which I've damaged plenty of lowers in trying to get that roll pin seated with just a regular punch and a regular hammer. And you know, you make some type of mod, or you want to build a lower or something like that. Built quite a few of them and done a lot of damage to some ARs. It's not such damage, but you just scratch them, and you don't want them scratched. You know, it's something to value and something you want to look nice. So, and then on top of that, sometimes they're just a bear to get out if you don't have the right tool.
Yeah.
So being able to having the right tool, you know, just like mechanics have the right tool for the job, you know, this is one of the things. And I don't know too many people that have built ARs that haven't either lost those little bitty pins, and then you have your takedown pin removable too as well. So that's also another one of the things that a lot of people, they build them on their own, and you start to do it, and then that little pin and the detent. You know, you're trying to get these teeny tiny little springs, these teeny tiny little detents to hold in this pin, and then all of a sudden you make one small adjustment, and pew, that little spring sends that little detent shooting across the room, never to be seen again. And then you have to order a part, or if you don't have any spares laying around. So these things are just invaluable, especially on a frustration level of when you lose one of those little bitty springs, little bitty detents. It's worth its weight in gold just to prevent you from having to wait.
Right.
Yeah.
So before we finish our email blast this week, and Block Genie is predominantly featured in our email blast, we got 3 interesting weapons here. The first one, Scott, this one is interesting. This is the Wrangler 22, and it is quite an interesting weapon. Tell us a little bit about the Wrangler.
So the Wrangler is Ruger's. It's a 22 long rifle revolver, and it's based on the older historic models, but they've given it a modern twist. It comes in black Cerakote, and it comes in this burnt bronze Cerakote, and I like both colors really well. They've upgraded everything to include modern polymer grips, and the Cerakote itself is going to protect that gun for years to come. So you're not going to have rust issues and things like that. All that metal is covered, and it's going to be protected from any rust. So you get a gun with bluing, like a lot of these are usually blued.
Yeah.
You can stick them in a safe, and any condensation that gets in there will settle on that gun.
But not on this.
Yeah, but even if that gets a little bit of condensation on it, it's not going to rust.
Well, there's another thing that's interesting about this weapon, is this is a very perishable weapon. Now, you may have not heard that terminology. Well, what I'm talking about is perishable on GunStuff TV. We had a couple of these in last week, and they were gone within 3 hours.
Yeah.
So if you folks, they're very, very hard to find. So if you want one of these, this is the time to get it and get it from GunStuff. And it's only $199. And that's a very, very reasonable price.
Yeah.
And then over here, we got about 30 seconds on this IWI.
Yep.
This also we have marked down, but tell us about this. This is a completely different firearm than
Yep.
that 22.
So this is the IWI Masada striker-fired polymer pistol, and it's their introduction into the polymer market. Comes with your polymer lower, adjustable palm swells, and 17-round mag. And the palm swell, you take the palm swell off the back, and it has a battery compartment in case your red dot goes down, and it has the red dot panels up on top. Comes with extra red dot panels so that you guys can put your type of red dot on there, whichever one you like. But the one thing I really liked about this is they really did really well with the trigger. And IWI has a lot of different things. You've heard of a lot of their guns. They do the Uzi, if I'm not mistaken, all the Taver, a bunch of different guns out there that are popular on the market. This isn't. They've been doing this for a long time.
Well, they're popular here in the United States, and we recognize, folks in Israel whose
Yes.
lives depend upon this weapon. Now, another screwball, I don't know how this happens, and I don't know who's in charge of our website, but this price got jimmied up here. It was considerably higher. It is normally $624 and is on sale at GunStuff for $424. So while they last, grab them now, because that price is not going to last.
You realize that's the wrong picture, right?
Yeah. Oh, we got the wrong picture.
Yeah, you got the wrong one. That one's not 424.
Okay.
The one in the picture.
The one in the picture, the wrong picture.
Yeah.
Whoops. Okay, we need to get you in here early. So I told you somebody got something screwed up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this, our final
Yep.
candidate here. Now, you guys were out at the range firing this not too long ago. This is the Ed Brown.
Yeah, so this is the Ed Brown concealed carry officer's model, and this is their lightest edition in this series. Great fit and finish on this gun and everything. I love the rail scales on the bottom. It has the G10 grips on here. They were on the show talking with us about it. It has the rear sight flat black with the serrations on the back to reduce glare. I'm going to point it back this way a little bit, and the camera. And then you have this big orange dot on here. That really helps you pick up the target when you're trying to shoot fast. But we shot this gun, and this thing shot like a champ. I mean, it was super smooth. And anybody that's shot all the different firearms, if you shot a lot of firearms and you shot a 1911, you love the 1911 trigger. The 1911 trigger is by far the best trigger system in a handgun, but a lot of other designs don't lend themselves for that to be able to work properly in different guns and carrying single action.
So now, Scott, did I mess up the? Oh, it wasn't me, of course. It was
No.
some unnamed
It was an
graphic artist.
intern. It was an intern.
The intern.
The intern.
Yeah. Did I mess up this picture? Here's the photo of it here. It's $22.95. You won't find a lower price anywhere. Ed Brown products are very, very scrupulous in terms of their pricing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you guys want to participate in our show and you want to learn more about us, go to GunStuff TV. You can register to win every week. We've got the ADCO giveaway. And this week's winner is, we've got one of those down there to show us.
No, I don't have one
Here
over
is
there.
the winner, Jason Morgan. Now, when you're out there, you're trying to load a magazine, it's nice to have one of these packages to make your life easier. Here we go. Scott, you're going to show us how good they look. The one thing I like about this, Dr. Al DiPoli, who's the doctor of ophthalmology of advanced degrees from Thumnus University, he's included something for basically every single caliber, right?
Yeah, so he's included one of these in the package. Basically this slides over the magazine. You push down on it, and it allows you to shove that next round in the magazine. It takes a lot of takes all the tension off you trying to bust your thumbs getting it in there. But the kit that you're winning fits all the different magazines on the market. I'm not exactly sure if it fits all of them, but it covers almost all the magazines on the market. You'll find one in here that will fit your application or your firearm, whether single stack, double stack, 9mm, 45, whatever. They're all in here. So
Jason, send us your address. We'll send this out. Gals, send us your addresses, and I'll make sure that they won't go to anybody else. No one's going to stalk you. We're going to get you these very, very nice hats. Of course, the hats are going to make you look very, very appealing. Yeah. Everyone loves these hats. Well, thanks for watching today. We appreciate this. Tell all of your friends about GunStuff. And remember, get your stuff at GunStuff.